Hey there YouTube, MS Firefighter 662 here. Today we're going to learn how to make a A-arm guard and CV axle protector out of UHMW. Got a piece right here, and this is going to be applicable for any ATV, UTV type application where you want to have a little extra protection than what comes from the factory setup. For this Can-Am Commander here, this is the factory piece that was on it for the right front. And this is the one we made earlier as a test run, and we're going to make the left front out of this piece of UHMW here, and I'm going to show you my process, how to do it at home yourself with limited tools and equipment, and let's get started. Here's a quick overview of the tools and equipment for what you'll need for your project. Some cardboard, a straight edge, a Sharpie pen and pencil will work, some kind of razor, cutting utensil, and a stapler. You'll need to remove your factory guard if it has one. Mine had some rivets on it. I used an air chisel to remove it. You can use a drill. So you'll need a drill with a variety of drill bit sizes, and some wood and wood screws, and some kind of saw to cut the UHMW. Whatever you have to cut, pretty dense plastic. Be creative with what you have. You'll need a workbench, a little bit of wood, and an oven to heat this up once we're getting ready to make our bins. Alright, first thing we need to do is take our cardboard and make a template. This one originally started out with about extra 6 inches on all 4 sides. And I got underneath and held underneath the A-arm, and from the top I traced it the best I could. So this is the front leading edge of the right front or A-arm. On the back side of it, score it with your razor knife along that same line so it makes a hinge. Try, if you can help it, try and have your suspension compressed a little bit. So keep in mind or visualize this, as the suspension compresses, all the geometry changes inside there. So we need to make sure we have enough clearance on the inner part of it so we don't make any contact with any of the other components of your ATV. This part actually goes into the inside of the wheel just a little bit, and when I did that, we want to make sure we don't contact any other components, the suspension, brakes, or the wheel itself. The CV axle, when it makes its change from full left to right turn, it actually, if it's a straight line here on the Can-Am Commander, it will contact. So we had to kick it out a little bit. So I use this, just bent it a little bit, watched the full movement, figured out about what angle I need, and we transferred that over here to this piece. That's a very critical thing, is we don't want any contact, especially with that CV boot to this. That's the quickest way we can wear a hole in it. So you can see here, when you make a turn to the outside there, the CV joint, actually the boot pushes a little forward. So if this would have been straight across, it would rub on that. So in order to have the maximum protection, that's why we kicked it out just a little bit. So when you're trying to figure out how far you want it to extend in your wheel, this is a front view, and it's only maybe 1/4 of an inch or so inside, maybe a 1/2 inch inside where the rim, if you were extending all the way across. So it does have protection all the way through, so anything coming would strike there and get deflected and then bent down, so you don't have to worry about anything. That's the main reason for putting this on here, is to give that CV boot some protection. When you're making this template, take your time and do it right, take care of it. Make a sturdy one, because we don't want to have to do this more than once. So this is the right front here. This flips up, flip it over. Now we have the left front. We just have to hinge it on the other side. Flip it up, and it'll work just the same. Take your template, place it on your piece of material here, and we're going to trace it, and we're going to cut it out with whatever type of saw you have. So what we're doing right now is making the mark for that piece we're going to kick out so it doesn't touch the CV boot. So we want to have all our bends marked, so once we get this thing nice and hot we don't have to waste any time figuring out what we're going to do. So we're going to set up our workbench, kind of do a trial run, and we want to have these marks made on both sides so we kind of have an idea where we're going to place it on our bench, where we're going to bend it, so either way. And also we want to make sure we note which side is the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this 90-degree bend over the edge of this workbench. We'll take it in the oven, get it hot. We'll come out here. We've got our line. We know where the edge of our bench is. So we'll just screw a board down the top, bend it over, screw another board on the bottom, let it cool. I set the oven on about 350 and threw it in here. Once this stuff hits about 250 degrees, it gets pretty pliable. As you can see now, it's starting to get a little rubbery. So just sit there with it and monitor it. I wouldn't want it to get any hotter than 300. I'm not sure what the ignition point of this stuff is, but we don't want to find out in our household oven. So about 250, 275 is a good temperature for it to work with it. At about 260, it's pretty pliable. Pull it out with the glove, and it's like a sheet of rubber. So I'm going to try and do both bends at the same time. I'm going to let it heat soak just a little longer, and we'll go out to the workbench and make our bends. And if screwing right down through it to the workbench is not a big deal. It's not going to hurt to have a hole or two in it. Take your time, set everything up just right. Take this one, put it across the bottom, make this nice bend right here. So I want to make this kick out right here. Well, it's still hot, so I have to do it twice. I'm going to put a screw here. See what we'll do. Put our board under here, like so, and we'll add one here. So this will make our little kick out so we don't make contact with our CV axle. So let that sit there and drape down, let everything cool, and we're still at about 225 degrees, 230, somewhere in there. So it's starting to get pretty rigid again. At about 120-ish, it's starting to get pretty rigid. So we're at 110, 120 now, depending on where we're going, where we're looking. But under these boards, it's still really warm since it's kind of being insulated. While we're letting that cool, and we're having us a Colorado Kool-Aid, let's talk about what we're going to use to attach it to the A-arms. So I went down to Lowe's and picked up a couple bags of these 1-inch conduit straps. There's like $1.25 a bag. And some miscellaneous bolts. So I got bolt, washer, and a nylock nut, enough to put, I believe, 8 on each is what I got to set up for. I don't know how many we're going to use until we get there. Probably end up 3 on the front, 3 on the rear. And then if you did have some factory guards on there, you can still utilize those holes from where they were attached with just a straight nut and a bolt for some additional support there. So there's our bag of miscellaneous bolt, nylock nut, and our washers. Probably have $10 worth of extra stuff here for our project. Real quick and easy way to remove those rivets. So if your machine has some kind of brace or bracket here, this one is for the original guard that was on it, came from the manufacturer, and the two tabs back here. Those are the best, strongest points that you can have to mount. So what I did was, I'm going to utilize those. I had to drill them out a little bit. I held the guard in place, marked the holes, and drilled them out. So all we have to do is bolt it up, nice and easy there. And then I'm going to add a couple of those 1-inch conduit straps, one on each of the A-arm attachment points on the front here, or on the inside, and then one here on the outside. So we'll have the 3 plus the 3 will have 6 spots, and it's very secure with those on there. I only ended up using 3 of the 1-inch conduit straps, 2 on the top of the A-arm there, and one down here at the bottom. And I secured it in 3 places where the original guard was. I just had to drill out the holes just a little bit to fit the nuts that I had, and it's on there nice and secure. It's not going to go anywhere. Alright, our A-arm guard and axle guards are complete. We made our template, we designed what we wanted, fabricated it together, and installed everything. The project overall didn't take too long. I hope this video is informative for you and your process, get you started. Maybe some tips, some pointers, but at least it'll give you a starting point on making your own. The UHMW was a freebie supplied to from a friend, so I've got roughly $10 to $15 worth of material or parts in it, and those bolts and those 1-inch conduit hangers you saw earlier is all the cost I have into it, other than my time and a little bit of electricity and some beer. If you liked the video, please take the time to log into YouTube and give it a thumbs up. If you are a subscriber, I appreciate your viewership. If you're not, please take the time to log into YouTube and subscribe to my channel for more upcoming Commander related videos. There's a good playlist of things I've created. I'd like you guys to check that out, share it with your friends, and a lot of other cool stuff on my channel, and a lot of upcoming projects in the near future. So stay tuned, and as always, thank you for watching.